Welcome to part 2 of cash flow statement analysis, and in this part we will see some of the cash flow statement, and then we will also note down few things to be remembered. So let's see one cash flow statement of one company, TCS. So profit and loss statement, balance sheet, and this is your cash flow statement. Well, if you see, cash flow statement have certain terminologies: operating activity, investing activity, financing activity, and then you have number. You have numbers where you see that some numbers are negative, some numbers are positive. So how to make a sense out of them? Well, for that we will refer back to the PPT and first understand that what are the interpretation I have for these activities on cash flow statement. So, coming back to the PPT, as you have seen, there are three activities which have been divided. Well, yes, so all the activities which a company does, they group together in three broader categories, and they are called operational activities, investment activities, and financing activities. So, first of its type is cash flow from operational activity. What is operational stuff? A company does business, he sells product, company sells product or services, and in the process of making these products they have to go through a complete life cycle. They have to manufacture, they have to market it, they have to give salary to the people, so many other expenses will be there, and they'll sell it, they'll make profit. you know Profit needs to be, profits will be taxed also, and that's how the change in cash will happen in a company, right? So cash flow from operational activities are grouped together, and they are represented on the cash flow statement in form of cash. Well, what is that you have to remember? So cash flow from operational activities has to be positive, don't you think? If you are not generating cash through your core operational activities itself, it will become very very difficult for you to sustain in long run, right? So something which you need to remember is positive is healthier in cash flow from operational activity. But since I have been talking about exception, in certain sectors, certain businesses, even with the large companies, you will see that in one or the other year their cash flow is negative even in operational activities. So we will see one or two example from that category also when we are going to cover the cash flow, because examples will let you know better. But remember, when it needs to be remembered, the way I asked you to remember few concepts from P&L statement and balance sheet statement, here something you have to remember is positive is healthier in operational activities. Then you have cash flow from investment activities. What are the investment activities? You purchase land, you put money in deposit, you acquire companies, you are investing. You are investing for the future benefit. Then you being a company can invest into other company shares as well. So everywhere where you are putting money for a purpose that it will give you a future benefit in terms of the share prices going up where you have invested, this land price is going up, or land is required because you need to expand your business. These are all called investment. So cash from the investment activities needs to be tracked as well. Now, what is something which you have to remember? And something which you have to remember here is every time company invests into something, negative entry happens on the cash flow statement. And every time company dilute, positive entry happens. What does it mean? Means even you are buying land, you are investing, so money will go out of your company account. When you are selling land or any of the equipment, positive entry will come to your cash flow statement. Now, we have seen that positive was good into operational activities cash flow. But is positive always good? Is positive good also into investment activities? Pause here for a minute and think, and then probably you go and listen when you are listening to this lecture. The interpretation here is no. Positive entry in cash flow through investment activities can be early sign of warning for you. You must check it twice. The reason behind it, the company needs to grow in an exponential mode, for which they need to reinvest, not dilute stuff. When they are diluting something, selling something, positive entry is happening, and this needs to be checked, that why exactly the company is selling something. It could be a very, very genuine reason. They just want to sell off one of the land which they think is anyway of no use. They want to sell off, some of the very old inventory, not inventory, I mean the machineries, which they think that anyway have become obsolete, and they have ordered a new machinery. So there could be exception here as well, but something which will always stand true for an analyst purpose from your perspective is that the positive entry in cash flow in investment activities is a sign of warning, and you must check it. This is what you have to remember. On the operational activity, what do you have to remember? That it is healthier to have positive thing. Here what you have to remember is it is a warning. Go and check it. Only when you check, you might find the genuine reason behind it, but you must check it. Then cash flow from financing activities. What is financing? As I said in the very beginning of this course, companies raise fund. It is called financing. Stock market is for financing. So company raise fund from debt or equity, and that's how it is called the financing activities. Company pay dividend, company pay interest payment. So everywhere there is money involved, which is not in the operational activity or investment activities, but still cash flow is happening. They will all come under financial activities. And these financing activities in cash flow can also tell you that there is going to be change in a structure, capital structure of the company. If the company is buying back shares, there will be capital structure change. If company is raising more money in the follow-up IPO, there will be structure in the capital structure change. So cash flow from financing activities needs to be tracked as well. And something which you always have to remember is when company raises money, positive entry will come, and when company gives money away, negative entry will come. Now the question is negative entry bad? Last time I asked you a question that positive entry is good always. Here I am asking, is negative entry bad? Because something which is always in our head, that something which is positive is good, something which is negative is bad. So here my question is negative entry bad here? This is the right way probably to remember financing, cash flow from financing activity. Let's understand, and well, when does negative entry happen? When you give away money. Now you have paid one debt, long-term debt, which was an expensive debt. Probably company was bleeding money on the paying the interest of the debt. Now negative entry is happening here, but this shows the strength of the company, that the company have made money, and they are repaying its debt, or it's giving a decent dividend to its shareholder. So here you can see that the negative entry in the financing is a good, healthy sign also for the company. However, positive entry can be a negative sign, because if they are raising too much of debt, you will see a lot of positive entry through the financing activity, and this could be dangerous for the company. But something which I will tell you about the financing activities is, never ever just look at the numbers. You also listen to the management commentary over the decision they have taken, that why they have paid the debt, why they have paid this amount of dividend, why they have taken more debt, or why they are coming up with follow through IPO and raising more money, right? But never ever go with one line or just remembering one concept. It needs to be logical, it needs to be questioned. Then only you will be able to see the correct position of cash, and you will be able to analyze the cash flow statement really well. So I would suggest you listen to this lecture twice and make note and remember, and then go and see many other cash flow statements. Well, few things which you remember, again I am summarizing it. Note down this: positive cash flow from operational activity is always good. Positive cash flow from investing activity is an early sign of warning, and cash flow from financing activities must be interpreted by combining the management commentary on the decision which impacted the cash flow of the company. If you have to remember in just three concepts, remember it this way. However, everybody is having their own interpretation of learning the concepts from different people. You can also explore. This was my interpretation about the cash flow statement, which I can explain you in the simplest possible way. Very quickly, we will go and see some of the cash flow statements. Let's say I have opened TCS. So what you can see that cash flow from operating activity is positive and is growing. TCS has not much to invest, honestly speaking, right? I mean, 2000 crore is a very small sum for a company like TCS. They have purchased more asset. It's fine. But this is a good number because all the investment which they would have done previous year, they would have liquidated it and done another fresh investment, and that's why you can see these numbers high. Net cash flow, if you see, is 2,341 crore. Cash from financing activity, if you see, then they have paid huge dividend, and that's why you see negative cash flow from the financing activity. So for me, I don't see much issue into TCS cash flow statement. Similarly, you have to go and check many other cash flow statements, many different cash flow statements from different sectors altogether. The more you see, the more you observe, the more interpretation you do in terms of the performance of the stock, you will come to know that companies which have been maintaining these kind of operating activity, financing activity and investing activity, and their cash flow are the company which has given great returns to the company. It has to be optimum. Investment also needs to be optimum. You cannot go very aggressive in investment. Balancing needs to be there. So this is what is the conclusion of all the financial statement classes. We will jump to the ratio analysis, and in ratio analysis we will identify particular heads and particular subsections from these three statements, and try to understand that how exactly ratio analysis can help you in taking decisions for your relative valuation. Well, thank you for attending this cash flow statement analysis in class 28.